Hi, Rebecca, Empathic Crew. So I did get a Love Oracle deck. This is a cheap deck that I got off of Amazon, and I say that because I was playing around with it earlier, and I was just shuffling through cards, and one of the cards, oh, and here's another one, they get scuffed or bent really easily. So just if you buy one of these decks, just know that it may do that. But I like the cards themselves because it gives you a word and then several things about it. So we're just going to pull a few cards. When it comes to readings, whether it's love, career, general, whatever, my typical style is to do a tarot deck and then usually one or two oracle decks, and sometimes the order of how I do them may be different, or sometimes I'll just do an oracle reading. It's all intuitive the way that I do it, just whatever comes to me. But I saw this and I was like, well, let me go ahead and get a deck for any love readings that people book. Or even what I've noticed with this is it can be friendships, anything to do with relationships with other people, this deck can be good for. I do like the rose and the red that's on it. So we're just going to pull a few cards. Real quick, with the webpage, July 20th, I will be doing my first monthly metaphysical meetup. And so that is a ticketed event, but it's I think I put in an hour and a half because I was like, well, depending on how many people and the topics, and we may get really excited about it, I want to make sure that there's enough time to cover. So I'm pretty sure it's an hour and a half, but if not, it's an hour. But just a space where through Zoom we can come together and talk about different topics. I will, because I mentioned this before, I will create a Canva flyer to just kind of have the introduction and everything for that. I have sent out the first monthly Reiki videos, and so that's a free subscription for anyone that subscribes to the webpage. You can click on the Reiki for the flock, and that will be a monthly video that I send you. And if you want to stop getting those videos, you can unsubscribe at any time. Okay, so we're at 2:44, and I think that's it. So we're going to pull some cards. Can you tell it's the end of the day? And so my brain gets kind of silly. All right, so with any general reading, just remember that it may not be for you. If you have a personal reading, it is definitely going to be more energetically aligned for sure with you because it's going off of your energy, past and present. Those tend to be very accurate because it's already happened or is happening. Future is just potentials and possibilities because they can change. All right, disclaimer. The other disclaimer that we have to say is this is for entertainment purposes only. You know, I do have that on my webpage, but it's because of the fact that people don't want to recognize that we all have intuition, and some of us are more in tune with it, and some of us may have extrasensory type things, especially those of us who are highly sensitive or have sometimes the neurodivergent neurotypes that make it to where we pick up on more than just one thing at a time, or we're taking in more information at one time. Like even as I'm talking right now, I'm highly aware of the sound of the air conditioner, and it doesn't decrease just because I'm focusing on something. I'm aware of the birds flying back and forth, like our bird that's laid some eggs and keeps flying in the bird's nest, the bugs that are on my car, all those things. So everybody has intuition. To some extent, everybody has the ability to tap into their own energy and sometimes to be able to feel the energy of others, but some people are highly sensitive to it. Neurodivergent brains just take in so much information and process so much information at one time, we get overstimulated. So that was a long conversation there. Sorry about that. That was an info dump, but there's a lot of misinformation going around about different things right now. So the first card is withdrawn, single, lonely, solitary. So if you're feeling lonely, you're feeling like right now you're wanting a relationship, it feels like you're in this alone, or you are staying in a relationship because you don't want to be alone, keep in mind that those emotions are temporary. It's not something that's necessarily going to last forever. And unfortunately, too, what we focus on, whether we mean to or not, energetically or through our actions, subconsciously, we will do things that create those situations. So it's okay to have those emotions. It's okay to feel lonely, to recognize that being single can be lonely sometimes, but also being able to focus on what it is that you want so that you're pulling that into your life. Breaking point. Goodness gracious. This is a very heavy energy. Limit, final straw, overwhelmed. So with this, just understand that these emotions, they're heavy, they're a lot. And like I said, it's hard to break out of those emotions. It's hard to not feel overwhelmed by those emotions because we go into this sensitivity to rejection. We go into this thought of things will never happen. And we have to be able to pull ourselves back and decide, how do I get what I want? What do I really want? Like, if you don't know what you want, you're not going to get what you want, because in order to be able to even discern whether something is right for you or not, you have to know what you want first. You have to know what those red flags are. You have to know what those green flags are. You have to be very aware of yourself, and there's a lot of healing that needs to go on in order to be able to even enter into a relationship, because otherwise you're either going to typically get into a relationship with somebody who also has a lot of unhealed trauma and you're just playing off of each other, or one or both of you are interpreting each other's actions from that past trauma or traumas, and not what's actually going on in the situation. Or we lower the expectation of what we want because we're lonely and we want to be in that relationship. And so we say it's okay when it's not. Distance. So yeah, these are not the cards that were coming out before when I was just playing around with the deck. So this is very heavy energy. So whoever this is for, and it's not going to resonate with everyone, but if it resonates with you, I definitely encourage you to do some inner healing work. If you feel like you're not ready to work with a professional or something like that, maybe get a shadow work journal or trauma information. There's a lot of professionals who even put videos out there to help understand some things. But at some point, especially if this is going into some traumas, we have to be able to go into those feelings and emotions, and it really can be helpful to have a non-biased person there with you who has an understanding of trauma and how it works. So distance is the next card. Separation, space, and blockage. Because the blockage is that trauma. It's that blocked heart chakra. It's making it to where you are having this limit, this final straw, because it feels like, oh, I'm just attracting the same things. I'm always going to be lonely because I'm never going to get a relationship that works out. And we don't even realize, I'm not victim blaming here, but we don't even realize sometimes that because those situations, those relationships with people who aren't necessarily the best situation for us, fantasy, daydreaming, imagining, fantasizing, they're not necessarily the best thing for us, but it feels familiar. It's repeating some of those past patterns, and you're getting into the same relationships because you have this fantasy. When people are highly empathetic, when people are highly compassionate, it's not a bad thing. It's good to have compassion and empathy. However, sometimes it means that we see the pain, we see the reasons that people behave the way that they do, or we understand the trauma, we see the good in them, we see the hope and potential, and so we want for them to be what we know they can be. But the problem is they have to be self-aware, they have to make the choice, and if they aren't, then you're just stuck in that daydream, and that fantasy. So part of the reason that loneliness is coming in is because there's this expectation that's not being met. Not because it's not something that you can get. I mean, sometimes we have really high expectations and we're not going to get them. But in this case, it's more because the expectation is unclear, and what is desired, especially in that very deep feeling of loneliness and feeling like it's not going to happen, is that we're building things off of a fantasy. And so sometimes people are holding on to what they feel like is good and ignoring the bad. Sometimes we, with anxiety and stuff, we'll do the opposite. We'll focus on the bad and ignore the good. But sometimes in relationships, even if you have anxiety, you lower the bar so much and you reach for those little things that it feels like, yes, 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 this is right, this is good. But it's not necessarily that. There's other things going on. It's just you got those blinders on, those rose-colored glasses, and you don't want to see it. Which leads to shallow relationships, hollow, empty, and boredom. So you're not going into that deep relationship in which you are your authentic self, in which you're able to feel safe. And it's just surface level things. Confession, unveiling, coming clean messages. This is for you with yourself. You see this light? This is you being able to become self-aware, take accountability for how you let other people impact your life. How even though you're coming from a caring place, and it may be because you feel guilty to set boundaries and say no, it's finding the balance and knowing that it's okay for you to put your foot down. It's okay for you to not accept an apology. It's okay for you to not accept bad behavior, to not continue to go along with it. Like, even in abusive relationships, we may see that somebody does something, they explode, they don't manage their emotions very well. And then they come back later and they're apologizing or they're giving people gifts or whatever it is. And the person forgives them, and then it happens again and again and again. And it's like, how many times can this happen? It's not that people can't change. It's just they really have to be aware that they need to change. They have to then have the motivation to change. They have to do the steps, come up with a goal, whatever it is. There's a lot of stuff that we need in order to promote change. Change is hard. Commitment, marriage, promises, fidelity. This is what you want. Notice there's a light in the background again. You can have this, but you can't do it with the same relationships that you've been getting into. You got to let that crap go. You've got to heal yourself. We'll do one more card if a card is wanting to come out, but we'll ask the question, what do you need to focus on, or what do you need to do? I've already told you, but we're going to see what it says in order to heal this situation. Oh, I got a phone call coming in. Let's see if we get a card real quick. One more shuffle. Oh, there we go. Realizations. So that's epiphanies, understandings, awakenings. You got to do that healing work. You got to awaken to that self-awareness of what it is that you deserve, what you're worthy of, and what you need. Take care. Hey, baby. Uh-oh.